Before going further, let's take that mental break, right? The mental break time. So don't read on. Sometimes we will be talking of different types of people. For example, Sardarjis. They are certain types of peoples, mostly in India, but other parts. Sometimes we will talk of Pathans, Khan Sahibs, in Pakistan and Afghanistan. So before I tell you the joke, something serious about Pathans. In the northwestern region of Pakistan, Pakistan is 4 big provinces: Sindh, Balochistan, Punjab, and Northwest province. So that northwestern province is mostly Pathans, and that borders on Afghanistan. So on the other side, in Afghanistan also, they are basically Pathans, and therefore Pakistan and Afghanistan have this thing that many of these people across the border are intermarried and they talk the same language and so forth. But they have a very unique place in the history. You see, for 200 years, the British were there, occupying all of what is now known as India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and so on. All this area was called the subcontinent, and the English were there. And they stayed here for 200 years before they were forced to leave. But even during the full 200 years, this area of northwestern Pakistan and Afghanistan, the Pathans, that was never under their control. They are very independent people, very fierce fighting people. Then later on, after independence, Russia invaded them and tried for 15-20 years with hundreds of thousands of Russian troops in Afghanistan. They could never control them, and ultimately they went away. Now for the past 15-20 years, the USA, America, has been there, and they have never been able to control the Afghans. So these are really strong fighting people, so they have a special place. The other thing is that they are, mashallah, very religious, strong Muslims. One of my jobs for about 3 years, I taught at a very exclusive university in Pakistan called the Ghulam Ishaq Khan Institute, GIK Institute. That is in the northwestern Pakistan region. So I lived among the Pathans for 3 years. Beautiful people, very hospitable. You are going in the village, it is, lunchtime, suddenly they absolutely don't know you, but everybody will try to, please come to my home, have lunch with me, please come to my home, have dinner with me. Very nice people and very religious. I am traveling in a bus and a Pathan, Khan Sahib, is driving it. There is Adhan and he stops on the side. He says, you see, now Adhan is there. We will not wait for a masjid. We will just pray here and then continue. So this is the serious part. Anybody who has the last name of Khan, Khan, is originally a Pathan. Nowadays, if you know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan is Imran Khan, a Pathan. So now a joke. There is a Pathan, Khan Sahib. He is, of course, as usual, very religious. He goes to the masjid very regularly. After one Jummah prayer, as soon as the Jummah prayer is finished, this Khan Sahib jumps a few rows, goes to the Imam and starts hitting him. Suddenly a lot of people come, separate them. Khan Sahib, what are you doing? It's such a big sin. This is the Imam. He said, no, he is a very bad person. Again starts hitting him. People separate them again. Khan Sahib, what are you saying? He said, no, did you listen to his khutbah? It was full of such bad things. He said, no, what did he say? And Khan Sahib said, you see, he said that if you help a poor man, you will get Jannah. And again start hitting him. And people separated. Khan Sahib, so what is the problem? No, he said other bad things. He said, if there is an old man on the road and you help him in crossing the road, then you will get Jannah. So Khan Sahib, what is the problem? Jannat is the name of my wife. Okay, right? So you can laugh today or whenever, but the mental break is back. Finished. So back to biomaterials, right? Biomaterials. So what do you understand now? That materials inside the human body or inside an animal body are organic materials which naturally exist there. But if we put an artificial material from outside inside the human or animal body, which should work like a biological material, then it is a biomaterial, right? So artificial teeth material is biomaterial. Some people, if their bones are broken, sometimes they just set them up and put them in a cast and it is okay. Sometimes they put screws and threads and so on inside them, and that remains there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years before they can remove it, or it remains there for life. So now it is an artificial material inside the human body holding the bones together. So this is now a biomaterial, right? So this is it. Biomaterials are these materials, right? So materials used in medical devices or in contact with biological systems. Interaction between biological systems and synthetic or modified natural materials. So this is biomaterials. The primary use for medical applications, of course, they are also used to grow cells in culture, to assay for blood proteins in clinical laboratory. Assay means to test. For fertility regulation, implants in cattle and so on, increase their production. Biomaterials can be metals, ceramics, polymers, glasses, carbons, composites, whatever, right? So any category of material, if they are used inside biological systems, right, then they are biomaterials. So it is not that they will be metals or ceramics or polymers, they could be anything. But if you use an outside material engineered and manufactured by human beings and put it inside a biological material or in connection with it, then it is a biomaterial, a very exciting field. So here we are just giving you certain examples. A finger joint, right? Finger was broken, you have to join it. A breast implant, there was cancer and so on, breast cancer and so forth, and you have to implant something. A heart valve, one of the valves is not working and you replace it. A hip joint, the hip bone has been broken, it happens a lot with very old people, and you put an artificial joint there. Artificial heart, not just one valve, the full heart has now gone so bad that you cannot really use it and so on, so artificial heart. Intraocular lenses, this is very common now, that many people, rather than having glasses, they do this operation and put these lenses inside your eyes. So all of these, and your dental implants, very common, they are all biomaterials. They are artificial materials engineered together by mechanical, electrical engineers and medical doctors, right? By the joint collaboration of mechanical, electrical engineers and the medical people. And you develop these things and so on, and you test them for a long time. There is something called an immune reaction. This is the name, immune reaction, that if you put a biomaterial inside the body, this is not natural. So then it may react and do bad things inside the body. So the biomaterials is not just that you have to design them in such a way that they work perfectly, but you have to design them in such a way that there is no bad immune reaction when they go inside the human body or animal body. So now here I tell you that there are still slides there, but your basic introduction to the world of material science is over. Basic introduction. Basic introduction means what is material science, what is materials engineering, what is its importance, what are the interrelationships, how is it important in design, in manufacturing, all those general things. And then what are the basic fundamental types and categories of materials. The very basic ones: non-metals, metals, polymers and ceramics. The one other basic one which is a mixture of these called composites. And then other categories of materials based on applications or technology, such as biomaterials, nanomaterials, electronic materials and so on, right? So this whole world is now there, and these will be the chapters as we go. Properties of materials will be a chapter. We can talk of polymers as a chapter, we can talk of metals and alloys as a chapter. So these will be chapters inside your book. And to understand the science behind the properties, you will go to chapters like crystal structure and so on, which is still the properties. But when we study properties at micro level, at microscopic level, then it is crystal structure. When we study properties at normal lab level, then you call it tensile properties and hardness and so on. So now from this slide on, I am trying to make you a little independent. I want you always, engineers, as soon as you go into the real field, you will be given a lot of different documents to read yourself. There will be manuals of how to do the work. And if you are not used to reading and understanding yourself, you will be in a big trouble. So this think that there should always be lecture notes and there will be lectures explained by the teachers all the time. This is good, but at times, for small times, you should do some things independently. So I have already made the slides for the next few things, but I am leaving it as a reading assignment. When I say it is a reading assignment, this will be included in quizzes and exams, but you have to read it and understand it yourself. Of course, during the online session every week, Sundays, right, 5 p.m. during the online sessions, you can, if there is anything that you don't understand in this reading assignment, you can come and ask me. So it will be partly covered in lectures. So let me quickly show you what are these slides. Competition among materials. Competition, right? That when you want to design a product, should you use this steel, or should you use this aluminum alloy, or should you use a composite? This is the competition among materials. So again, giving you a graph of copper, aluminum, polymer, and so on, and how they have grown over the years. Competition among materials. Then in a normal car, there is aluminum and plastics and ferrous metals and other types. So competition among materials in a big product like a car. Then you see year, in terms of years, right, that in the automobile car industry, how much steel and plastic and iron, aluminum and so on are being used over the years. So again, competition between materials. Then recent advances and future trends. Recent advances, that in the last 10-15 years, what has happened in the world of materials and what is the future trend. So why have I left it as reading assignment? Because the categories of materials are the same. What are the recent advances in metallic materials? What are the recent advances in polymeric materials? What are the recent advances in ceramic materials? What are the recent advances in composite materials? What are the future trends in electronic materials? What are the future trends in smart materials? This is new, shape memory alloys and piezoelectric materials. Read about it. Some applications of these smart materials. What are MEMS? MEMS, micro electromechanical systems. Future, micro electromechanical materials. What are the future trends in nano materials? What is the relationship of design and manufacturing and material selection, right? So again, we started from this, that whenever you design a product, if you change the material, everything changes. Whenever you manufacture a product, you change the material, everything changes. You make a material of metal, you have to go to the mechanical workshop to cut it and drill it. You make the same material of wood, you have to go to the carpentry shop. You make the same material of plastic, you have to go to an injection molding machine. So the relationship between design and material selection. And then an example of design and material selection, and you think that if we take steel or wood or carbon fiber, what will happen, right? So just read through these slides yourself and try to understand them. So with this, welcome to the fascinating and exciting world of material science and engineering. Now you have a brief introduction of the whole course, a brief introduction of the whole field, and that was the purpose of chapter 1. So that there are two things that I want to achieve. You know the whole field rather than each chapter separately and you don't know the whole field. So you know the whole field, you have an idea. And secondly, you get excited about it, or you really understand that this is very, very important. So this is end of chapter 1. Today, even though there is a lot of time remaining for the lecture, but we will stop here. We will start the next chapter later on. Thanks a lot for being with me. Ma'as salama.